Execute theme song.
Silicon Valley, man, I feel poor. Jeff and Ryan make this pussy galore. So best listen up, cause you know you won't snore. And when the cast is over, you know you want more. Lossless compression during a hip-hop session. When I told my teacher, she gave me detention. I want some booty, oh yeah, Judge Judy. Tough talk coming up your alley. Sit back, cause it's judging Silicon Valley.
Now, give it up for your hosts, Ryan and Jeff. Woo!
All right, everybody, here we are. Welcome back to Judging Silicon Valley. Of course, this is the show where we judge Mike Judge's show.
This is where Ryan goes hot
about
and he blows out
Silicon
the
Valley. So what we're going to do this episode, as in most episodes, Jeff is going to critique everyone's mic technique. For most of the show.
You're doing great.
So I know that's interesting to everyone listening and watching because no one can tell the difference.
Do you want to start over?
All right. No, we're here. We're in there. We're in there.
But you see how you just redlined that shit.
I'm speaking in a normal voice right now. I don't understand.
I'm just saying.
All right.
I mean, Drew can see it too.
This is such a fun, cuddly way to start.
Isn't it a cuddly way to start? Well, that's the kind of energy that we bring. All right. Well, here we are, Judging Silicon Valley. Of course, the show where we judge Mike Judge's show about Silicon Valley. This is going to be episode 3 of season 2, titled Bad Money. I am still Ryan Cronin. Batman over here is, of course, Jeff Reitman. Jeff, how are you today?
I would like to not talk about this stupid fucking show.
You don't want to talk about
and talk about Jared Leto as the Joker.
We want to talk about Jared Leto.
Okay, let's talk about that first. Okay, let's talk about Jared Leto, of course.
It's not all about the show, but let's get Drew Harmon's opinions first. Which is our guest, by the way.
Well, okay. And our guest here, of course, is Drew Harmon. Drew Harmon,
everybody.
Hilarious comedian here in San Francisco. We'll get you plugs later.
Okay,
Drew, it's good to see you.
Good.
You're looking good. You're looking healthy. You're wearing a Detroit Tigers.
I am.
Yeah.
Yes. I live.
Michigan guy. Yeah.
I'm from Michigan. I live there now. I flew in just for the podcast.
Really?
Terrible with money. So
I didn't know you were actually commuting from Michigan to do open mics
all
in
the time.
San Francisco.
It's
crazy.
Terrible decision making. But
Well, there's only one open mic in Detroit.
What's the name of it again?
It doesn't matter. He flies here and then does 3 more on the West Coast and then flies back.
And then fly. Just take a red eye back. Southwest direct flight. It's
Jet
great.
set, living the dream.
Yes, indeed. Jared Leto Joker.
Yeah.
Awful. Looks terrible. Someone had a very terrible studio note and suggested
I think it looked badass as like a Halloween costume.
Yeah, but the Crow looks badass as a Halloween costume in theory, but then when you see it over and over again, it just looks stupid. Like all the tattoos, the Joker. Is the Joker really going to sit down and do all that ink? Does he need to have ha 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 written in the Alan Moore Killing Joke font specifically?
I figured that was like marker though, but not actual tattoo.
Look, but then it should have a smear on it.
Yeah,
it should look smeared and dirty, like the Heath Ledger Joker.
I would be okay with like it's clear that that he had carved it into himself.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha.
Like Psycho.
Yeah. But it's professionally done, and everyone says it's Macaulay Culkin dipped in Hot Topic gets us the Jared Leto Joker.
I picture an episode of Miami Ink with him sitting in the chair.
Miami Ink specifically.
Crossover.
He's like, well, I came down for some. My mother lives here. She retired here. I needed to get some ha ha ha's written because it means a lot to me. It's I'm the Joker.
Yeah.
I have a funny personality, but it's a little bit sinister. Like they're going to have that segment where they describe why he has
Wouldn't it be more so
purpose.
like a story on like tattoo nightmares? Anyone tattoo nightmares?
No, tattoo nightmares is when he finds out that they tattooed Papa, and he has like daddy issues.
Yeah,
and they have to change it into haha somehow.
Yeah.
No, it is true. I saw someone put up an image where they it's the same image, but they scrubbed all the tattoos off. And that looks a little bit better.
Yeah,
the face is definitely it's killing
the teeth
joke.
Were
it's killing
bugging
joke
me.
face. We know that, but yeah,
Or the fronts or grills or whatever.
That looks ridiculous as well. Although the Joker would probably have a dental issue. He wouldn't be a guy who is like, let me take a break from all this murder and mayhem. I need to brush and floss, as my dentist has recommended.
Yeah,
so he's going to have messed up teeth. That makes sense.
He spent time to get the fronts and shit.
Yeah, well, that's what So he should have messed up teeth, but then getting the grill and everything just looks ridiculous. It looks like way too many studio notes. of somebody who's trying to make the Joker look way too cool for whatever they think kids are into these days.
I agree with that. I think the only reason that happened is Suicide Squad is it's cool, but to me the character Joker really can't exist without Batman. That's the whole point. Is there two sides of a coin or what have you?
I like that I've derailed this podcast.
We've derailed it. Well, but that's why it's, if we don't have Batman, then what is the Joker? We have to hip the Joker up because you know what kids are into today? Most 17-year-old kids are into
Taylor Swift.
They're into Will Smith. They're into Will Smith
so much.
And Will Smith, of course, is in the Suicide Squad. Like, why is Will Smith...
It's Batman and Robin. It's Batman and Robin too.
It's
and all
ridiculous.
the time I hear kids on the bus saying they're going to go get jiggy with it. It's the terminology of the
thing.
day.
And it's going to
Drew
be
rides the
phrase
bus a
of
lot
2016,
from Detroit to San Francisco.
It's a long bus ride, so I get to listen to a lot of stuff.
Oh, you take a bus? I thought you were...
Sometimes. I mean,
Really?
open mic comedy. I don't know if you know this, but drink tickets don't buy a lot of bus tickets.
And
so-
let's also
okay.
put it this way: there's usually more people on the bus than in the open mic rooms.
Yes.
Well,
So it's a bigger audience.
Do you try out new material on the?
Well, I'm waiting
Greyhound?
for the bathroom in the back.
Okay, yeah.
I'll try.
You're
stuff
already
out.
standing.
Yeah, I'm already standing.
Are you facing the back of the bus and just?
I kind of just rotate and see who's paying attention. It's a nice mix of felons, old people
Yeah.
who have made terrible gambling
Yeah.
decisions, single mothers who are crying all the way on the entire bus ride. So it's a rich tapestry of audience. And if you can kill on that bus,
It is.
then
It's all the
stuff's
colors
gonna
of the
work.
wind.
Then,
All the colors
then
of the wind.
it's the fish are jumping in the boat at Roosters. If you can kill on the bus from Detroit,
Roosters being the premier comedy club in the South Bay.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
The premiere.
I mean, Rooster T. Feathers is pretty good. I've always been more of a fan of Brewster T. Cluckers. Funny enough, it's across the street. Brewster T. Cluckers is a much better East Bay comedy club.
Yeah. But the Rooster T.
/
Feathers
steakhouse. Yeah.
The steak. I love the comedy club / steakhouse.
/steakhouse.
Let's go see some comedy and get a filet mignon. But I do love the Rooster T. Feathers cockadoodle nachos. Oh, so good. Best $14 plate of chips
nachos?
and cheese. that you've
Occasionally, you
ever
can
had.
get them free as a comedian.
I have gotten them free, although
Yeah.
I don't think they intended that. I think I just walked out on the tab.
It's basically, like if you enjoy a steak of lesser quality than Sizzler and you enjoy bad comedy,
oh.
Brewster T. Cluckers is for you.
Oh, so good. So
Should we
good.
get back on topic?
All right. So there we had to talk about Jared Leto. There being
7 minutes in.
I know,
Back on topic.
It's okay. We're gonna do all right.
What is this podcast about?
So here we go. This is about the HBO show Silicon Valley. So episode 3 is titled Bad Money. Now,
Oh, yeah. Hold back to the beginning.
Yep.
Ryan, Jeff, Drew.
Yep.
We're good to go.
good to go. All right, Drew Harmon, everybody. We're going to get plugs in. For him
Yay.
later. Don't worry about it. We're excited he's here. So as we know, episode 1 and 2 of this season were actually directed by Mike Judge, which is, again, palpable for me. I could feel that. This episode, episode 3, is the first episode directed by the executive producer and co-writer with Mike Judge, Alec Berg. Alec Berg, all right? Now, Alec Berg, again, he's been part of the project. He was a writer for Seinfeld, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Conan O'Brien. He actually directed some episodes of New Girl. So this is the first episode he's directing. So I don't know if you felt a little difference in the direction at all in this episode.
Maybe.
Maybe.
It's hard to tell because they introduced the Henneman character.
Russ Hand. Okay, so
Yeah.
here's what we're gonna do, Drew. Here's what we're gonna do again because we're
should do your
8 minutes
recap.
in. I'm gonna do the quick recap, and then I'm gonna ask you your thoughts about the series, your thoughts about Silicon Valley, your experience living here, and then we're gonna kind of get in and dissect this episode.
Done it. Let's do this.
Okay.
30 seconds is your time limit.
I can do this.
And I'm just going to ant you at the end of it.
Please do that. All right, let's do
Ready?
that. Okay.
Go.
Episode 3, Bad Money. So this is picking up after the fact that Gavin Belson is... There's no way that's 30 seconds. Anyone knowing this. All right.
Oh man, will they or won't they? The romantic tension in the room here is
Jeff does
palpable.
that with
You
everybody
too.
that he collaborates with. All right.
Yeah, I fuck him eventually.
Well, okay. Okay. All right. So I'm going to stay on task here. All right, so what's going on here? We ended episode 2 with the fact that Gavin Belson was offering to actually acquire Pied Piper. Hooli wanted to acquire Pied Piper. So where we're starting here is, yes, they had the acquisition. It's actually a pretty good deal. The thing is, they want to envelop Pied Piper and bring them on payroll. Nobody wants to do it. So Richard doesn't know what to do. By chance, on his way to go accept it by himself, a McLaren 360C pulls up orange. It's our new character, Russ Hanneman. This episode is about Russ Hanneman. Come on, that's pretty good. All I did was repeat myself.
And Limp Bizkit playing like that. It's been a while since there was a good Limp Bizkit music placement joke.
Russ Hanneman is
all for the nookie too.
Yeah, Russ Hanneman is probably my second favorite new character introduced in this episode. I'm going to talk about my actual favorite character later, but this is about Russ Hanneman, who's kind of this douche. He's clearly modeled after Sean Parker and a little bit of Mark Cuban, but we're going to get into that in a moment here, Drew. So first, you're a new guest here. Your thoughts about the series thus far, and also your experience. You're joking that you take the bus and fly here and all that. You've been living here for how long?
I've been living here for almost 8 years.
8 years
in the Bay Area.
So,
I'm here longer than you. I thought you were here longer. Anyway.
No.
All right. So what do you think? Number one, the series, and then also how does it parallel your experience in the real Silicon Valley, especially because we're now getting into tech bro super douchebag territory with Russ Hanneman.
Yeah. Well, I haven't had a lot of experience with the super tech douchebags. The series as a whole, I enjoy it. I've been watching it since the beginning, so I've seen every episode. I actually have HBO now, so the last season
things are going well.
Things are going pretty great. Yeah, there was. It's pretty fancy.
Family sending money from Detroit.
That's right. Hey. Last year, I just happened the episodes just fell off the torrent truck. So I watched them that way, but I enjoy the show. The characters are all I find it amusing, especially, just the programming, the interplay between the guys, because they got a great cast.
Truth.
I do enjoy, because Kumail Nanjiani I enjoyed him before the show even started, and TJ Miller I also found to be very funny. They have gotten away a little bit from all the general tech speak and coding stuff. Yep. But I don't understand any of that, so I guess for me it's like
no loss.
Yeah,
that's okay.
I don't.
Okay.
It's like CSS, HTML, whatever.
It might as well be like a hospital drama where they're clearly just saying nonsense of like, I need 10 cc's of fadrimaline.
Yes,
like which isn't real.
I hope they get the fadrimaline.
They're just shouting it in the drama, and you're like, well, it must be real. It must be real. Yeah.
So enjoy the show. This episode, So far this season, I would put this as the weakest episode of the season so far, and primarily because I found this new character to be a gigantic douchebag, and part of me was wondering, are they introducing him primarily to introduce like an Ari character as an entourage? Because TJ Miller's character has clearly been kind of the breakout personality. Of the show. So is someone pushing that we need an Ari, we need someone who's going to be kind of like that raging douchebag id. And I don't,
where you're going. Yep.
And I don't want that to be the case with this show, because Entourage was the king of the douchebags. I don't need a douchebag, particularly in this show.
So we talked about this last week, but we're a lot of times in these companies, when these companies have lawsuits and then they find financial backers, they're financial backers that specifically want to do it to piss off whoever the one is that's doing the lawsuit. Right?
Truth.
So my suspicion was more that this a-hole is specifically just there to be a counter a-hole to the other a-hole.
Oh, okay.
The president of Hooli, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, this is their a-hole, which they don't like either, but they have to live with because he's getting them out of the situation with Hooli.
There's a lot of general douchebaggery in Silicon Valley, in the real.
I mean, you walk around these streets, and again, we're in San Francisco.
These mean streets.
They come up here.
Yeah,
they come up here and get their $800 piece of meat at the fancy Japanese izakaya. You see them, and you hear their fancy supercars rev up in the canyons of downtown San Francisco. Of like, really, you're going to rev your Lamborghini on Bush Street right now? You know what I mean?
I don't know that there's a lot of luxury cars. I drive Lyft to make some extra money because comedy killing
Pays.
it.
Well, we already talked
Dana-
about the whole, you're taking the bus.
Free
And,
nachos and a
so we
lift
know.
fare.
That's right. But so I do get a fair amount of tech people in the car.
Of
And-
course, because they're drunks too.
Yeah, they love to drink,
Yeah.
and they are generally very good for you. They're generally congratulations on your choices. I hope it works out for you.
I just cheered. Yeah, I know.
And but I have I interact with them on a regular basis, and I find them mostly to be either they just they don't care that you're there. It's that you're just another thing that's serving a purpose in their day, or they're just generally condescending.
No, well, Drew, that's the whole thing here is, and I can understand because at first I was appalled by the Russ Hanneman character, but then I realized what's going on here, right? Mike Judge, Alec Berg, they hate these people.
Yeah.
And this is, I hope that there are tech bros who, again, are basically entitled man-children who, again, Russ Hanneman's whole thing is, don't do what you should, do what you want, right? I'm hoping that there are some tech bros who are watching this show and are having such a great time that maybe the Russ Hanneman character will get to them of, oh, I'm
that guy.
I'm a douchebag.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking douche. And that's what I hope is going on there because, again, so going back to Russ Hanneman character, right? So, and this, again, is based on a
He pulls
combination-
up in his McLaren.
In his McLaren, his
With-
orange McLaren.
all for the nookie play.
Yeah. With
the
just-
perfect track choice,
with
by the way. That was
terrible.
the perfect.
Speaking of Hot Topic, but the expensive Hot Topic shirt on, you know what I mean? But not Hot Topic.
And
weird
like the ladies' jeans, like they're a little too
ladies'
tight.
jeans and this
They've got this closed
titanium
snap
buckle.
Yeah.
It's his jean snaps. Scratch his
Yeah.
McLaren. Just
Custom paint job.
custom
McLaren.
paint job,
Yeah.
asshole, right? So, again, based on Sean Parker, right? We all know Sean Parker's social network we talked about. He started
It
Napster.
reeked. That whole fucking lunch scene or dinner, whatever meal that was, reeked of the scene from The Social Network.
Exactly.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
But that's also what's going on there is a subversiveness of this is who this guy is supposed to be.
Which we did a podcast on, by the way.
we did.
You can go listen with the
Yeah.
other 8 people that listen to that one.
But here's what's funny is so when Russ Hanneman, I know I'm jumping ahead here, but when Russ Hanneman comes to the house, because they all know that he's decided to back, he's put $5 million up, is
supposedly hands off.
supposedly hands off. But Dinesh immediately Googles his name, and the predictive text or the search suggestion drop in of Russ Hanneman, douchebag, misogynist.
Which I thought was a brilliant way to introduce that without saying a word.
Yeah.
So you know what I did today is I typed in Sean Parker, and the first thing that came up was Sean Parker. It was Sean Parker outrageous wedding, where I guess same kind of thing, where it was kind of like just by typing in the name, you're already learning a little bit about who this person is, and that's the thing. Now, Mark Cuban, on the other hand, and again, this is who this character is based on. Mark Cuban, we all know Shark Tank and all that, Dallas Mavericks guy, but Mark Cuban, the reason why is although Sean Parker was Napster, Russ Hanneman talks about ROI. Well, return on investment? No, radio on the internet. The key is actually Mark Cuban, his first real money-making thing was broadcast.com, which was radio on the internet. Napster wasn't necessarily radio on the internet, but I found that kind of funny.
He's not going to let you talk. You need to jump in.
No. We're setting this up here, but again, because we're talking about
He's
the
got
Russ,
his thing.
Seriously, jump in if you need
the
to.
Russ,
okay.
the Russ Hanneman character. So I'm with you in the fact that you were like, I hate that, because I got angry. I got physically angry. But then I thought about who he represents, but also the actor himself. So I just want to share this quick fact. And
Okay.
then we're going to open this up. But I was very excited about talking about the Russ Hanneman character and the actor. The actor, his name is Chris Diamantopoulos. I'm bad with Greek last names.
yeah.
Diamantopoulos, okay? So you may have recognized, he had a beard. He's never had this beard, but you may have recognized him. He's a character actor. He's been in The Office, Arrested Development, Community. He was also Mo in the Three Stooges movie. Wait, it gets better. He was also Robin Williams in the Mork and Mindy TV movie in 2005. Wait, it gets better. He's a voice actor. He's been on Family Guy and American Dad doing voices. Get ready. He's the current voice of Mickey Mouse with Disney. What? I lost my shit. So there you go. There you go. Russ Hanneman is Mickey Mouse.
Do they still make Mickey Mouse cartoons?
Apparently.
DVDs and all this. Yeah.
Advertisements.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, come to Disney World.
It's him.
This guy fucks.
Yeah.
This guy
It's
fucks.
crazy.
This guy fucks.
Yeah.
Right?
So,
this guy fucks.
So therefore, as we go forward now, any quotes that we do of Russ Hanneman shall be in the Mickey Mouse voice. Agreed?
Yeah.
Good.
Agreed.
All right.
Do you see any other white people in this restaurant? No, you don't.
So, all right, so we'll enjoy this. So, Jin Yang, again, gets a shout-out in this. This is in the beginning of the episode, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Richard is intercepted there, the orange McLaren.
It's either Chinese or retarded.
Nope, but you have to do it in the Mickey Mouse voice.
He's either Chinese or retarded.
See, I knew Jeff would enjoy that because that's everything we want there, but there you go. All right.
I love Jin Yang. I like that I think he's been in every episode now. Because he delivered the bad news. He was in the corner in the other episode, and he came in this episode.
I'm with you, and you know what? I wasn't able to do it for this episode, but I promise to the listeners by finale of season 2, a Scrum Master quiz question will be how many lines does Jin Yang have in the entire series? So I have to count that because he had one line in episode 1, no lines, but was in episode 2, and no lines
not seen.
I think I saw him in the kitchen at the very beginning.
There were multiple dudes in the background.
Yeah,
I noticed.
He's the Stan Lee of
this
show. He just kind of pops in and
I eat the fish.
Like, oh, there it is.
Yeah,
I eat the fish.
Okay, so I want to come back to Hanneman here. I do want to come back to him because I'm very excited. I just think that guy's doing a great performance. I just think you hate him so much, and that's on purpose. It's on purpose. I
think the most brilliant thing he did in that whole episode was the ad placement.
The billboards?
The billboards.
That was pretty funny.
I am Pied Piper?
The most horrendous ad, which there's an ad that my wife drives by. There's an AppLovin billboard. I don't know if you've seen it. That's around the city.
Okay.
They are the douchiest douche billboards. And we don't know what it is, but we don't want to give them the satisfaction of Googling it. Like, I'm not like, your trick didn't work, you dickheads.
Right, yeah.
And that's what that Pied Piper ad reminded me of, is that stupid AppLovin billboard. There's one on the way from the airport, and there's one downtown going across the Bay Bridge.
I've seen that. Yes.
I don't think I've seen it, but I don't pay attention to advertising. I'm an old
but
All
Drew,
business. Drew
Drew,
right.
you would agree that kind of subversive, hipper than thou bullshit advertising is rampant in San Francisco.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. The thought is that in this case, it's an ad of what it was like a musician who's
a female musician.
Some kind of Pan-Asian woman.
Yeah. And obviously she's making her opus in her bedroom, and she's got to spread the word. But how's she going to do it, man? She's going to use Pied Piper, and it's going to make the file so small that anyone can just have it, and then her poetry will be like that. Assumption that is how all of that works is just terrible and awful and tech douchey to the core. So they nailed that.
I suspect that actual Bono, was created by Russ Hanneman. Because it kind of makes sense to me. Yeah. The actual, he's an android.
He's going to have a bunch of sunglasses. Yeah. You're going to see his eyes, but he's going to have different colors and shapes. They're going to be really big. He's going to wear them indoors all the time. Even when he's talking about world peace, he's going to wear sunglasses inside.
Well, he's meeting Nelson Mandela.
Yeah, Nelson
Mandela. He's going to wear fly sunglasses inside. Yeah,
yellow tint. You'll see his eyes, but you won't see the white. He'll still be wearing. Yeah, he's created in the lab to be.
I'm bummed that we didn't talk about how bad Gavin Belson was this episode too.
Oh, I got.
You got that coming?
A whole bunch of notes there.
Because I don't want to fast forward too much, but that billboard's led into the billboard outside Gavin Belson's office.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
While the the Jewish delegation was there.
Okay, well let's get into
which
it.
requires rewinding back to the original interview.
Okay, so
Which only makes sense for 30-year-olds.
So let's talk about that interview. Jeff, you know I get upset about this. Is the Omni Hotel was featured yet again in this episode.
For the code conference.
Yeah, so this is the external shot before the code conference, and it's the external shot of the Omni Hotel. Once again, there is no conference space inside the Omni Hotel. This is the second time.
How dare they?
It upsets me. It upsets me. As we know, Ryan Cronin got married at the Omni. I know there is no conference space.
Where did you get married then?
Yeah, just
in a room. A banquet room.
So now, how come they didn't? They could have dressed up a banquet room.
No, because we were in the big one. No, so no. Because this one has risers and the whole thing.
How much fucking money did you need to pay for the Omni Hotel?
Here's the thing. It was $12,000. All right. Here's the thing. So the code.
Whoa, I'm Ryan.
The code conference.
I spent so much money on my wedding, and now I nitpick the Omni Hotel.
Drew, I thought we were buddies here. All right. So the code conference is happening in the quote-unquote Omni Hotel, which it isn't. And this is where Gavin Belson is being interviewed. Now, the code conference is actually, we see a return cameo from Kara Swisher, who was in the actual last 2 episodes of season 1. Kara Swisher had the glasses on and was doing the interviews where Ehrlich was giving the false information. She's a real tech journalist for the Wall Street Journal. Sitting next to her is Walt Mossberg, who's also a former Wall Street Journal tech journalist. They actually started the real conference called Code Conference. Their website is called Recode, and what they've been doing is they have.
This is fascinating for listeners.
It is fascinating, but they have for real.
For those of you who don't know how to get to Wikipedia,
but
we copied down some of it.
But what they do is they invite these captains of industry without any.
Can we just get to how much of an a-hole Gavin Belson is?
They've interviewed Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and Elon Musk for real. Okay, so Gavin Belson is there, and he goes into this speech, as Jeff was alluding to, about the fact that billionaires are persecuted class.
Rant. It was a rant.
It is a rant.
Yeah,
it's a persecuted class, much like the Jews under Hitler.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So this is pretty outrageous stuff.
He makes some pretty choice statements. He makes Hanneman kind of look tame in a lot of ways.
It's insane where you think, wow, okay, we're painting this guy who lives on a cloud, doesn't really understand what he's saying, because you know that probably that character doesn't really think that. But does think
no, he does.
He does think that. It's a good way of capturing, like when someone has been too rich and been said yes to too many times for too long, then they start to get weird, crazy ideas in their heads, such as how much do I pay in taxes every year? Well, I'm being persecuted. That I have tons and tons of money, and I have a Tibetan monk who travels with me.
That's true.
But
this rounding error in taxes that I have to pay every year is just unimaginable.
This is just untenable.
Well, here's the thing
in this American life,
Drew and Jeff. I mean, it's outrageous. It's outrageous writing, except for the fact that
it truly outrageous.
It's almost Gem and the Holograms. It's more of a Snorks level of outrageous, because it wouldn't be that outrageous if that speech wasn't almost verbatim of a speech by a man named Tom Perkins last February in 2014.
From investment firm Kleiner Perkins.
That's correct. He is a billionaire. Kleiner Perkins has backed a VC firm. They have backed Genentech, Google, Amazon, and Zynga.
They're big.
Tom Perkins.
They also just got sued for gender discrimination and won.
I don't doubt it, because that speech that Gavin Belson gives is almost verbatim of what Tom Perkins gave, and then also sent a letter to the Wall Street Journal as well and Forbes magazine. He also mentioned that basically the votes should be paid for. So if I pay $1 million in taxes, I should get 1 million votes. That's how he really thinks. That man is a billionaire and makes decisions about how this country works. That's real. Once again, subversive stuff here. The guys who write this show hate these guys.
Wikipedia research like Ryan Cronin.
That's right.
Really, Ryan's saying he could write this show.
I probably could. Because all you got to do is some research. So, Jeff, why don't you go ahead and take it right now and tell me what you think and your notes.
My notes are amazing.
Yeah? So you did some research, too. I know I did Wikipedia,
like
but what did you do, Jeff?
On a black background.
Yeah.
But I will say, specific to this incident, there's also some guy not too long ago at a tiny startup that no one would ever know who did this rant about women. And women in tech, and it was similarly like really you're equating women not being in tech with like fucking persecution of Jewish people. It was the same kind of bullshit level of stuff. And that guy's local and not a billionaire. That guy's like a guy who maybe made $200,000, still rich, still fine,
doing all right.
Yeah, that's
but more like a normal person, and he's that out of touch. You know what I mean? It's amazing, shocking.
Well, that's where, you have here...
You can chime in.
Well, yeah, and I think the whole... thank you very much. I have the floor. I think this
I
show...
yield the Ray-Ban glasses.
We need to wear the glasses when we speak. All right.
I think the show keeps touching on how these guys in general get very out of touch, and that's a problem that we're having in the city dealing with people who work in tech in a lot of ways, is that they are out of touch. They don't interact with other people. Is back in the day, if someone was just kind of an asshole, then they might get their ass kicked. They might get punched. But this is a whole other breed where you just don't exist, where anything outside of their little circle doesn't exist. And so they get very comfortable in their own little world, that it's always, they're in their office at a nonstop level. They're always working with the same people, and they get to have the same conversations and agreement over and over and over again, much like comedians who are who are all very good at coming up with all sorts of crazy delusions about why they're not working at the punchline, but some other asshole is.
I think comedians inherently, though, are just fucked up people.
Yes.
And they acknowledge at some level that they're fucked up.
Yes.
Or they wouldn't be doing stand-up comedy, where I don't think that a lot of the tech bro culture realizes that they're being a douche and still doesn't give a shit. Like, there's a difference between knowing what you're doing and just being like, fuck it, I don't care, but actually believing and behaving that way because you think that's just the way one behaves. And
but in comedy you have the actual parallel where you have to go on stage and people either laugh or they don't. If you're just working in tech, if people are downloading the app and you're making $200,000 a year, or your company's doing really well, then how could I be wrong? Because I look at all this money I have, look at how well everything's going.
Yeah.
Comedy, if you suck, then you're reminded that you suck over and over and over again.
Even if you're good, you're reminded that you can still suck.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, we've seen headliners tank occasionally, not often, right? Good comedians rarely tank, but you still see it.
I totally agree with that, and I think the parallel is that our incubator house, the Pied Piper guys, for the most part, right now are living in reality. But what we see here is, again, Star Wars Episode 7 trailer, is there's double Jedi mindfucks that happen to Richard. He gets Jedi mindfucked by Gavin Belson, one direction, and then he gets Jedi mindfucked the other direction by Russ Hanneman.
He had balls there for a minute.
Did he, or was he just repeating what
he was projecting holographically Richard Hanneman's balls on himself?
Yeah.
Yes.
But like for a minute there, I was like, Richard, stick up for yourself, and then he repeated the stick it up the ass line, or stick it up the ass line. I don't remember what
this guy fucks. He's trying. He knows that he should be taking a more aggressive role, but he's not strong enough to do it. So he's falling back on the person who is at least seems to be the most supportive, which is the Henneman character, whereas instead of just being bought out and taken over.
But should he? But that goes against what we were just talking about, the fact of creating these untouchable man children that can do whatever they want. It's interesting because the episode is showing us here's two different types of billionaires. They're both assholes.
Yes.
Right? But at the same time, we're told as the audience to root for Richard to become one of those assholes.
That would be the ultimate positive outcome. Is then he gets a bunch of money
to become an asshole. Yeah,
and he does something assholey like turn on a webcam and play video games and put it on a website that other people watch for 2 hours at a time. Cough, cough, Jeff, cough.
No. It's usually 6 to 8 hours at a time.
All right.
And you watch that whole thing
At work.
Oh,
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
at
And
work.
at home.
That's you go to work and you're watching.
Yeah, I code video games while watching people play video games or
It
listen.
kind of it's immersion, I suppose.
No, it's
but-
more like it's honestly like talk radio because they're talking the whole time and just talking about the game or talking about whatever. So it's like just white noise at a certain level. Sometimes I listen to music, sometimes I don't.
Well, there you go. And
Just cut the topic off.
no. I'll say this because I keep sharing it with Jeff, and I don't know if he's listened to it yet. But Comedy Bang Bang, fantastic podcast, right?
Yes.
About 3 episodes ago, it's called the Silicon Valley P-Cast. It's most of the cast on Comedy Bang Bang. Thomas Middleditch does 2 different character voices, which are hilarious, but also talks about the fact that he's on Twitch. He actually is plugging that and embarrassed that he's doing so. But again, I'm just saying for fans of the show, you should check out that Comedy Bang Bang Silicon Valley P-Cast. All right. So, Jeff, I want to talk about Jared's lines as well as
Julia Roberts fascination.
As Julia Roberts'
Oh,
fascination. I also want to talk about Ehrlich's clear love affair with Russ Hanneman. But first, Jeff, as we were talking about, Drew, it is true. This is the 3rd episode into the second season. It's the first time we actually get some true tech terminology. Okay, so what I want to do here, Jeff, is just explain to you the hiring list that Guilfoyle and Dinesh have.
Oh, yeah.
And all I want you to do is explain what it is they want.
Sure.
Okay, so again, they've got the $5 million.
The 30 people.
Well, 15 each, so 30 people. That's correct. And again,
Good math. Good on the math.
I'll give them all names.
But first, Jared, of course, says to Richard I keep telling them that we can't afford it, but they say that I've spent so much money at the butthole doctor. Not quite sure what the butthole doctor is, but okay. So Guilfoyle and Dinesh. All right. So here's the list that Dinesh wants. He wants, and I just want you to explain what it is he wants. Right.
Some of this I may not know, but
Some of it's pretty straightforward. But so he wants 4 web app developers. He wants 2 front end, 2 back end. So that's 8 altogether.
Yeah.
He wants somebody to help with the rev code to production quality library. He wants 2 guys to help to port the decompression libraries to JavaScript. He needs somebody for iOS. He needs somebody for Android.
Yeah.
And he needs a few guys to help build out the APIs. It's 15.
So he needs people to do all those things. I mean, I don't know what else you need explaining. I mean, the only thing I didn't understand.
He needs guys to come into work, put on headphones, and listen to people play video games on Twitch. That you want in a nice
that's
full
true.
room.
But here, Richard even says
Presumed.
Richard even says the 15, and they want. Guilfoyle wants I want those same guys. So that's 30. But Richard's even saying that the 15 that Dinesh wants is the size of an entire department in Facebook. So this is clearly way too many guys for where Pied Piper is. But web app development, okay, I think we all know that, those listeners. Front end, back end, sure.
Yeah.
He needs somebody to help with the rev code
That's the
to
one I had
production
no
quality
fucking clue.
library. So this is more back end, correct?
No, so the production quality library sounded like someone to clean it up so it's like publicly accessible and usable, but that is like covered by the 2 API engineers that he wanted.
So building out API, and API is, of course,
application programming interface.
Interface. Okay. So, but also Dinesh does admit later I really only needed 2 guys. They just want a huge staff that they can boss around. So there is going to be
both still competing for CTO title.
That's correct. That's correct. They said. Well, Dinesh says, well, what we're doing is negotiating against you. Richard said, no, you're
We're
not.
on the same team.
What are you doing? You need somebody to help. Two guys to help port decompression libraries to JavaScript. So we know decompression is what Pied Piper does.
Yeah.
So basically, so the
No, they write
libraries...
the compression library. They're writing the compression. Like their whole thing is the compression algorithm.
So they wanted to go to Java, so it's interface.
Useless if you can't use it on a PC
There you
or
go.
a Mac, right?
There you go. Right.
So you need somebody to code it for whatever platform.
So we want somebody for JavaScript, somebody for
But then
iOS, somebody for Android.
They talk about Android, but I guess are people going to be need to compress things on their Android
Not
phone?
compressed. They mentioned decompression.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So you need to be able to pull the file and
Play a wave for.
So if you want to watch Twitch while you're on the bus and just avoid
no
everybody,
waiting, no waiting. The Weissman
Okay.
score is hot. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah,
All
because
right.
the Weissman score is off the change list.
It's the highest Weissman score ever since the
It's-
Weissman score was invented.
During season 1.
All right, there we go. As we discussed, it's
we
not
all
real.
talk about the
It's not
Weissman
real,
score
but
all
it is
the time.
real.
It's-
I like to compare my dick in relative Weissman scores with other men. I have a 1.
Off the charts.
I have a 1.
Okay, so I'm watching the time here though. Jared, again, let's talk about Jared. He had a couple. Again, Jared always has the best lines.
Yes.
So
You already hit up Butthole Doctor.
Butthole Doctor, go ahead, jump here. Jared lines. Give me some
I
Jared
cannot
lines.
nail the brilliance that was the Julia Roberts little.
That whole segment was fantastic. His delivery on those lines and suddenly using Julia Roberts movies as a reference, only then to have someone else, suddenly he's met with that they compare it to another Julia Roberts
My
movie.
Best Friend's Wedding was the one.
No. So he compares his time working with Gavin at Hooli as the Julia Roberts movie Sleeping with the Enemy.
Yes.
Where it was abusive. But here is like Pretty Woman with Richard Gere. And I'm putting on hats. He always breaks down and cries. He's putting on hats. That's a great line. The next morning, this is just before they have the discussion about the need for the 30 developers, is Richard comes into the kitchen and there's Jared getting ready, like we really need to talk about the staffing requests. But I'm very excited. I celebrated earlier this morning. And he looks off in the distance and smiles and giggles to himself. And Richard doesn't ask any questions. So my question to both of you is, how did Jared celebrate earlier that morning?
IHOP.
Could be.
I think
Tied into last episode.
I think he just watched Pretty Woman.
He just watched Pretty Woman?
He just sat with his laptop in the
Richard
morning.
Gere marathon.
Yeah, just
Julia
Could
Roberts.
be that. Could
hunkered
be that.
down, big cup of iced coffee, and just enjoyed. Just had some alone
See, I was
time.
when you said iced, I was thinking like ice cream, like
Not in the morning.
Haagen-Dazs.
He's too skinny of
No.
a guy.
Yeah.
I don't think he's the kind of guy who is a morning ice cream man.
I think you're both wrong. He clearly went birding. He went
and
birding.
had his binoculars
He went
stolen
birding
again.
Well, no, this is the first time it wasn't stolen. That's
why
why.
he was so
That's why
happy
he's happy. Yeah,
and wistful.
He went birding by himself. Okay, and of course the episode ends with here he is. He's back again. We haven't seen him.
We forgot to touch on the one point I want to touch on.
Go ahead. Oh, yeah,
With
yeah, go ahead.
But I don't know if you wrote this down, and I'm not going to remember the Jewish term. But when Gavin Belson looks out the window,
yeah.
sees the ad, turns around, and there's the Jewish delegation from. I don't even know if they said where they were from. They might have briefly.
It's just a rabbi and some Jewish looking
to make up
people.
for
I don't
like,
know.
hey,
Yeah.
look, I'm
Yeah.
friends with the Jews.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I'm building a giant something center across the street. Like
No. He's building a replica of
some Jewish
Hall of
site.
Names, which I think is a Holocaust survivor thing, but a small replica next to bicycle storage.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and that's the whole scene when he's looking at the billboard. He says something about this is the worst act of aggression I have ever seen, and then they say, "Oh, and the delegation, the Jewish delegation is here," or something to that effect.
Oh,
He
I
turns
like
around.
the. Oh, that's,
Yeah, it
that's
was the-
excellent. That's
Yeah,
excellent.
it's a great smash cut way to to hit like,
Yeah.
oh no, you're a giant asshole.
Yeah. No, I like that.
Dig yourself out of this mess, kind of thing.
I like that. All right, I'm watching time here. So quick notes here. Again, as I mentioned, Russ Hanneman being my second new favorite character. My first favorite would be Russ Hanneman's friend Corey, who appears in the house just playing games on his phone. He has a leather baseball hat.
Oh, yeah.
Small golden font. It says "fuck you." and he's clear mentally handicapped. I don't know what's going on with Corey, but you think Corey wants to be here? Come on, Corey, let's get out of here. You know, I don't know who Corey is, but with the leather baseball hat and the gold font that says "fuck you," wonderful.
I still rather have Jin Yang.
Jin Yang is great, but I want more Corey. I hope I get some more Corey.
The leather baseball hat is such a great detail because there are two types of people who wear a leather baseball hat, and it's either a gay bear who wants everyone to be aware that he's a power top or whatever the terminology is, and then just giant assholes who are just want to look extra tough, but even though they're wearing like a triple XL T-shirt, like here's this detail, like no, I'm tough. Look at this.
Well, plus I don't give a fuck what you think of this leather hat.
Yeah,
Corey is such that mouth breathing partner of a douchebag. Like we're veering into like Margera family territory. Like that's clearly someone that Bam Margera would hang out with, is like the mouth breathing, Uncle Vito guy.
In the
that's
back.
who he is.
Yeah. He's
like, blah, 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 Bacata.
That guy's held a camera while someone's done skateboarding tricks. Like he looks like that kind of guy.
Who that guy is. Yeah.
You're hilarious, Corey.
Second note here, Lori Bream. We see her again. Of course, she's running Raviga now. She
the voice of reason.
Exactly. But quote: "I will not interact with Russ Hanneman in any way." Foreshadowing. I think somehow they're going to be locked in a room together and potentially have sex. Again, I'm waiting for that full penetration scene.
No. Richard's going to walk in to Monica having sex with Richard Hanneman.
With Russ Hanneman?
Russ
boy.
Hanneman, yeah.
Wow. Oh, that'd be terrible.
That would be
Wouldn't
a Game of Thrones-esque twist.
Oh, that's so bad. Yeah, that's so bad. Oh,
and then
man.
Richard becomes like the evil tech guy.
Oh,
Doesn't give
terrible.
a shit about anyone anymore.
Oh, that's terrible.
He buys out Hooli.
Also, speaking of foreshadowing here, Russ Hanneman character mentions this. He goes, when we go up against Hooli and Nucleus at CES in January, again, I'm going to jam you up their assholes. Again, I'm saying that the finale episode of season 2 is going to be CES, which is kind of exactly what we just saw in season 1. So I hope we do a little something different.
It's almost starting to become Glee in that it's like we're preparing for this competition cycle.
It's all of this backstory of what are we going to... It's just this forward motion.
Are we going to be ready for regionals,
what's
guys?
What's going to happen? Yeah, exactly.
I hope so.
Exactly. So I hope we do okay with that. And again, Nelson Baghetti, big head, he's going to be...
Finally back. He's been
finally
absent.
Finally back. He's been on the roof. He's been getting fries and mozzarella sticks.
Getting a promotion.
Yep.
Because they figured out that if they promote this guy and make him look like he's important, that they can make it look like he was responsible for Pied Piper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was the beautiful mind genius, and Richard stole the idea that the beautiful mind genius has always been there. Yeah. So we'll see, and that's how the episode ends of him getting the call. So we'll see where Big Head's allegiance lies.
There's a
real friendship win out, guys.
Physical comedy thing going on there too.
Oh, and he just gets all that junk food and then dumps the fries in the elevator.
The security gate thing, which I have to do every day of my life now, and I want to kill myself with that security gate. But yeah, exactly.
It's not a strong man who you find in an elevator with fries that he's just dumped fries. That's not a workplace problem that you should be having. Like, oh, sorry guys, I spilled all my fries.
That's not even workplace. That's just not a problem one should have in general.
If you walk into a McDonald's at 3 a.m. and you see a guy who just spilled fries all over the floor, that guy he's got more problems than anyone else in the room, even at McDonald's at 3 a.m. Like, I'm at McDonald's at 3 a.m., but look at this guy. Like,
middle
what,
of the day.
What the fuck are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Like, get it together.
It's French fries, man.
It's like, how do you spill your fries?
Coffee's fine, but French fries.
All right, gentlemen. So we're going to jump into the Scrum Masters quiz. In closing, we'll start with you, Drew. Final thoughts on the episode, Season 2, Episode 3, Bad Money.
I'm hopeful that Henneman does not become a permanent fixture. I hope that as time goes on, that there'll be some way that he kind of gets phased out. Murdered would be awesome. Let's have a cameo from some dragons.
After being caught being banged banging Monica by Richard.
Richard kills him?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Just a knife slit at the end of an episode.
This series just went completely off the rails.
I wouldn't even say a knife slit. Richard just screeched like, It's such a weird volume that his head explodes.
Like a scanner?
Just has an aneurysm and falls down.
Awesome. Yeah.
That would be cool. I'm down with that.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Be a massive tonal shift for the show, but whatever. Let's take it wherever they want to go. Overall, I do think this was the weakest episode of the season so far, but they're setting up a lot of things. So there's a lot of setup happening as we start to look towards the middle of the season, and the storylines are going to progress through there. So I'm with the show, enjoy it very much. So I'll be watching the next episode.
I do think that Russ Hanneman. I mean, there's going to be a conflict somewhere with whether it's Lori or Gavin Belson. You're right. They're setting something up.
There's got to be some kind of
and there's going to be
sex
an explosion
somewhere. It's not TV. It's HBO. And I'm not
sex.
talking about I want full penetration, but that's not going to happen.
When was the last time you saw Julia Louis-Dreyfus get banged on Veep?
Last night. Well, you
was
didn't
it?
watch it?
No, I didn't. God damn it!
I'm going home to my HBO on demand.
Clearly not watching correctly. Okay, well there you go. So that's episode 3. So now we're going to play the Scrum Masters quiz. So as you know, I try and temper these questions. We're a little bit over time, but that's okay. We're trying to temper these questions
because we have a hard stop. I don't know if you know that the internet makes you.
The internet does make you. So we're gonna we only rented 53 minutes.
You got to cut to break at the right time. So I worked in radio. I know Rush Limbaugh comes on, and when he comes on, you gotta get there.
What's the guy who talks about UFOs? Art.
Oh, the guy
Art Kelly.
No. I was just talking about this guy the other night. I know exactly. It was when I worked in radio. I would do the news shift that would start at 4 a.m.
That's right.
And I got to listen.
I never harassed you about doing the weather.
No, you never did.
Fuck you, Kron.
Yeah, there you go. But that guy, I love.
Drew
that
did
show.
the local weather here, by the way.
I did. I was amazing
on the
at it.
radio. On the radio.
Oh, I did it on TV too.
Did you?
I did. Yeah. You can find all that. There's clips on my website. We'll plug that later. But,
all right, let's do that. Yeah.
But yeah, the guy who does the overnight stuff, I love that show just because he opens up the forum to absolute nut jobs, and
Coast to Coast with Art Bell.
Is it Art?
Art. It's coast to coast.
It's coast to coast.
Coast to coast.
I love that they'll bring anyone on and he won't shoot anyone down. Art Bell. Yeah. Good work. But he'll bring these people. He'll let these. Yeah. Way to go, Google, coming through again. But he doesn't put anyone down or say anyone's wrong or stupid. He just lets them
he
talk.
just opens the phone line.
It's like, well, it's clearly Obama is Satan, and he was brought here by the people of Mars. And if we don't do something now, then we'll all be taken over, and we'll all become robots who are also going to be Satan's minions. And Art Bell will just say, "Yeah, thank you for the call," and move on. It's just such crazy. It's just a slice of insanity. It's
the
fantastic.
problem there, Drew, is you had much. It was way too clear, and you had your diction. Yeah. Your diction was too good.
Well, I didn't smoke a ton of meth before I got on the phone.
So what I want to say is, I was going down the road, and I saw some lights. The lights came down. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you.
I double your overtime.
Is always all right.
All right, there you go. Well, that's a guy on Coast to Coast with Art Bell. All right. So, okay, we're going to play the Scrum Masters quiz here. Jeff, can you explain to Drew how we play? And we're going to jump right
Ryan's going to ask you 3 retarded questions. You do not need to get them right. The funniest answer is usually the best answer, even though Ryan's going to tell you it's wrong regardless of what you say.
Awesome. Well, then let me put my hat on funny style. Let's do this, guys.
Might as well put the glasses on.
Wacky glasses and a hat. This guy used to do the weather. All right. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to try and keep this thematic. All right. So as we know, the character Russ Hanneman takes Richard Hendricks to this way above scale Japanese izakaya hibachi type restaurant where they're having $800 pieces of meat there. So here's my question: what is the most expensive restaurant in the world as it stands today? What is the most expensive restaurant in the world? Jeff, you can take this first. The most expensive restaurant in the world. It's kind of custom made for you, but we got to move away from what you're going to say.
Well,
Try
what am I
something
going to
else.
say?
It has 4 letters, but we're not going to do that.
I was on an IHOP tear last episode. Oh, man.
The most expensive restaurant in the world, and again, so now, what is it, where is it, and how much does a dinner cost there?
It's the restaurant at the top of the What's the name of the casino that used to be the Desert Inn in Vegas?
The Aria, the Wynn?
The Wynn.
The Wynn.
It's at the top of the Wynn.
Okay. All right.
Beautiful view of the Strip.
Sure, that makes sense.
$5,000 to get in.
Whoa, just
Yeah,
to walk in.
just
You
to
haven't
walk
even had anything.
Yeah.
Yipes.
And then they just give you French fries that they spill on the elevator floor.
Oh.
And each fry you pick up is another $1,000.
And the name of the restaurant, is it Spaghetti's?
No, it's actually called McWindle's.
McWindle's.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. So $5,000 to walk in.
Yeah.
There's fries on the ground.
No, there's a bunch of elevators. You don't actually like sit at a table. There's elevators that just have fries spilled in them.
Do the elevators move?
Yeah.
Or you just go, okay.
And then as you're picking up the fries, the doors open and someone embarrasses you.
So it's like a weird Japanese businessmen love it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like
I thought so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny round eye. Look at him spill.
Like, do you also get like a commemorative photo that's taken?
No.
No, you
That's
don't.
cheesy.
You don't really?
That's so cheesy.
Not for that place.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
At Vegas, they keep it classy in Vegas all the time.
So, and again, the name of the restaurant was
McWindle's.
McWindle's. I don't think that's what you said, but all right.
McWindle's.
All right.
I said it very slow.
Okay.
But that
All right.
is what I said.
So, Jeff, I mean, that sounds right, Drew. But what do you think? What is the most expensive restaurant in the world? Where is it? How much does it cost?
Well, the most expensive restaurant has to do a lot with location. So the most expensive one is going to be located near the peak of Mount Everest. Very, very difficult to get to.
Yeah.
But also...
Especially after the earthquake.
Especially after the earthquake.
Yipes.
And it's hard to get stuff up there. So, of course, quality ingredients are going to cost a lot. But if you're up there and you need something to eat,
sure,
then that's going to have a big effect on it. So, oddly enough, it is just an IHOP. They just put an IHOP up there.
God damn it!
Yeah.
How much does it cost? What is like a Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity? What does that set you back at the top of Mount Everest?
You're dropping at least $6,000.
Wow.
If you
Okay, so
want
it's
a stack
expensive.
of pancakes, it's very, very
Well, most
expensive.
people don't pick up more than one fry at this restaurant. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Shit. Wow. I mean, these both sound really good. Now, some people say
This is a good setup for the IHOP, by the way.
you're welcome. Now, some people say that currently, again, it's going to change as we go forward, but currently, the most expensive restaurant in the world is a place called Sublimation. It's on the island of Ibiza. Leonardo DiCaprio and Justin Bieber have been guests there. It only seats 12 people. You get a 20-course meal, and it costs $2,078 per person. The second most expensive
compared to ours.
Second most expensive is Urasawa in Beverly Hills. That costs $1,111 per people. It seats 10 people. But some people say that. But the true answer of the most expensive restaurant in the world is actually in Walkerton, Indiana. It's called Memories Pizza. I'm sure you saw that on the news. The most expensive dish there, which is priceless, is the Big Gay Pizza.
Can I ask you a trivia question back?
Sure.
Because Walkerton, Indiana reminds me of Mr. Deeds.
Mr. D's.
Mr. Deeds, the Adam Sandler movie?
Oh, yes.
Adam Sandler classic.
Yes.
Okay.
What town was Winona Ryder's character from?
Walkerton, Indiana.
It's Winchesterton somethingville.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
that she makes up.
Winchestertonville.
That's all right.
Yeah.
For those of you
look it
out
up.
there, all right. Memories Pizza, everybody. You know that Ryan's joke is pretty good. Okay, so here we go. Question number 2. We're all tied up, everybody. We're all tied up.
I will just say,
Jeff's
you
going to
search
check.
Mr. Deeds Winona Ryder, and one of the suggested options is hometown.
And-
of course, it doesn't give me the answer.
Yeah,
but,
okay, there you go.
A lot of people Google search for that.
All right, so while Jeff is trying to make his point that no one cares about, we're going to continue
I
with
care.
question number 2.
all
Question
that
number 2.
matters.
We're sticking with, again, spoiled billionaires. That's the theme for this week's Scrum Master Quiz.
Winchesterton-Fieldville.
Winchesterton-Fieldville, which is not real. Walkerton, Indiana is
Iowa,
real.
by the way.
All right. Iowa. Okay, all right.
Iowa.
3,000 miles difference.
Iowa.
All right. So what is the, Jeff, here we go. What
You're
is
not
the
gonna
most,
ask
we were
Drew
talking
first?
most expensive restaurant in the world? Drew, okay. okay, you know what's going on here, so we'll go with you, Drew.
I'm with the program.
What is the most... so we were talking about... sorry.
Ask the question.
Yes, Russ Hanneman, as we know, the series opens, he's in a orange McLaren 650S. That costs approximately $285,000. It gets 18 miles per gallon. By the way, that orange is standard. It is not custom. Just want to get that out there. But...
He's even douchier for saying
he's
it's
even
custom.
douchier for saying that, even though that's a standard color. But $285,000 for that ride. What's the most expensive car in the world?
That's an excellent question, Ryan. Thank you for asking it.
In the world.
In the world.
In the world. Because
Okay.
actually the Moonlander is a more expensive car.
If you're having trouble remembering, I can go first.
No. I can think of this one. Let's see. This would be the car that James Bond drove in Goldfinger.
In Goldfinger, all right.
And
Aston Martin.
In Aston Martin. Yeah. It is a basic gray, but here's the thing. It's expensive because the body of a dead prostitute still inside the trunk.
Wow.
Still there.
Yeah.
And it's always been in there. So that makes it a very special collector's item.
And prostitutes are like
Interesting.
cabs. The meter's still running.
Yeah.
So it gets more valuable every day.
Exactly.
Well, I would
yeah.
think the value also increases depending on what country you're in, where the organ trade is either up or down. You know
Well, I
what
mean, she's
like
been-
in Mexico, that's worth more.
She's been long dead, but because the Aston Martin has such a great, the fit is so tight on the trunk, it's in excellent condition. It's like a good copy of Action Comics #1. So not only is it the car,
like a mummied hooker
well, no,
body,
it's just
or
like it's been
there's
put in
juices, or the
it's-
juices in the body.
There's a few juices in there, but you have to buy it
It's a
to find
juicy
out.
body.
They're not going to show that to just anybody. You gotta ante up, man. So if you want an expensive car, you get the Aston Martin with the hooker in it, and that's the most expensive one. That's the one we're all building.
Hi,
to.
Art Bill. I just wanted to call in. I recently purchased an Aston Martin.
No one can hear you.
It has a juicy body, a juicy hooker body.
All right, I'm going to give my answer.
Are you guys hearing that? Is that like coming through? I don't know what that. Okay, all right.
It's still not funny, but whatever.
Anyhow, all right, that's right. Okay, so Jeff, what do you think? Drew, I like that. So an Aston Martin, and what was the price on it, by the way? Just give me a price.
That one is $10 billion.
$10 billion.
It's pricey.
This is
Holy
how I know
shit.
he's wrong, because mine's only $1 billion.
Holy shit.
And I know it's the most expensive.
Okay.
It was a 1985 DeLorean Hot Wheels replica driven by David Hasselhoff on the set of Knight Rider to and from his trailer and the studio.
So a full-size human David Hasselhoff
Yeah.
was in a
It was one of those
Wheels,
motorized like Hot Wheels kind of things, electric.
like a
Now, was
children's?
it big enough for him to fit in, or was it like
Yeah.
a kid's
No, it
where
was
he just
kind
kind
of
of
like a
said,
clown car kind of thing.
okay.
Yeah, like he.
So he's on the roof of it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So not at all mint condition.
Interesting.
Well worn.
Wow.
Still has
covered
some,
in whiskey farts, I'm sure.
Still has a little bit of Hasselhoff ass stain on it, and still like you get your nose really close, you can smell it. $1 billion.
Wow. Well, that's pretty good. And here, I'm just going to I have to jump in here right now, Jeff. So Kung Fury, we know Kung Fury.
Yes.
Have
Have you seen this, by the way?
No, I
Have you
not.
seen the
Oh
new
my
the
God.
new David Hasselhoff music video?
We will educate you after this.
Oh, okay.
Which is also actually a good song.
So for those who don't
True
know,
Survivor is actually
Hold
a
on,
good
hold on.
song.
For those who don't know on the internet, Kung Fury is an 80s cop show, sci-fi show inspired new production.
Go to laserunicorns.com. That's where you
production
That's
company.
them. Laser Unicorns.
And they're getting very, very close to release. But they got David Hasselhoff to do the theme song, and they did a music video, and it's fucking brilliant.
It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Also, John Carpenter released a new music video called Night,
so good.
which is also kind of awesome. All right. So anyhow, so what we have here is $10 billion for an Aston Martin with
A juicy hooker's body.
We need to speed this up.
as well as
The internet's getting tired.
It's too. We're too far gone at this point. And Jeff goes with $1 billion for a
Electric Hot Wheels.
electric Hot Wheels DeLorean,
Not
that
owned
David
by David
Hasselhoff
Hasselhoff, used by David
in
Hasselhoff.
1985. These sound good. Now, some people say currently the most expensive car in the world is the Lamborghini Veneno, which costs about either, depending on package, $3.7 to $4 million. They've only sold 2 in the United States.
I like that the name Veneno goes very well with a-hole.
Yeah, it
like
does.
I'm an a-hole. I'm gonna go get a veneno.
$4 million car.
My venane hole.
Again, the McLaren in the episode, $285,000. That's already too much. $4 million for this this
car is $285,000.
and it's also not the fastest car. I just don't understand $4 million.
I like an 18 grand Hyundai Sonata.
Yeah.
It gets you where you're going.
Yeah.
You don't care. People
Power
are
windows or without.
I take the
Power
BART,
windows.
baby.
Oh,
I take the
power.
BART. Look, but no, some people say that. But the true answer, gentlemen, the true answer is, of course, the Mutt Cuts van from Dumb and Dumber 2, not Dumb and Dumber 1, because its cost is the careers and integrity of Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey.
Boom.
So there you go. There you go.
That was a little
Cronin
too
snap.
political.
There you go. That was political somehow. I don't know how that was political. All right. Okay.
Obama.
So all right. So we're all tied up here. So this one is for all the marbles, as you know.
Obama ruined
I came for the
Jim
marbles.
Carrey's career.
G.C. Hooker. I got G.C. Hooker's body in my Mutt Cuts
This is
van.
off the rails.
Art Bell.
No, this is the only way to go. No one's listening to this, Jeff. Might as well have fun. All right.
600 people listened to last episode.
So there you go. Yeah, well, all right. Thanks for the support, guys. All right, so question number 3 is always the Price is Right rules. Price is Right rules, okay?
All right.
So that means get closest, don't go over. As of the first quarter of 2015, this is the billionaire-themed quiz. As of the first quarter of this year, how many billionaires, that's U.S. dollar in U.S. dollars billionaires, how many billionaires are there on this planet worldwide? How many billionaires are there? Bonus if you tell me who it is who's the richest and that amount. That's the bonus. That's super bonus. But right now, closest at this number. How many billionaires on this planet right now?
I'm going to go with 42.
Going with 42. That's interesting, Jeff.
Always
Jeff's
42.
pretty good at the improv. It's a good thing that I write all this because he says the same answers. I hop in 42 for the past 17 episodes. All right.
We're on episode 16. So, fail.
That's a different number than 42. All right.
But you went over, so you lost. Price is Right, bitch. 42.
What happens if the quizmaster loses? I don't know what happens.
42.
42. Okay.
And you
gotcha.
want to know the richest man?
Who is the richest man and how much is he worth? Or she? Yeah.
So I'm going to say he. It is Donald Winchesterton Fieldville.
Okay.
Okay. He started General Electric.
Really?
Yeah, back like 200 years ago. He's a fucking vampire.
200
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Money can
Yikes.
can buy you a lot of
General
things.
Yeah.
Electric 200 years ago.
But
Okay, yeah.
he got most. I mean, he's pretty successful. A lot of people have heard of them.
Yeah.
Right. But he also owns a popular restaurant chain. IHOP.
What would that be?
Art Bell, I just want to call in. Your guest should be a juicy body inside my car.
And his net worth?
With what's the man's name again? Say his last name one more time.
Donald Winchesterton Fieldville.
Okay.
His net worth is $42 billion.
$42 billion. All right.
And he tries to get $1 billion for every billionaire. So he just keeps going up.
Interesting. All right.
Like you put $1 billion
Sounds
in
good
a
to me.
CD, like that's like at least $1 a year, right? I mean, I think that's basic math.
Yeah.
I'm good at math.
One times
with
$1 billion
money,
is
so,
$1 billion
yeah.
more dollars a year. That's pretty good.
Anyway,
Awesome.
I like the sound of that, Jeff. Drew,
really, even with the IHOP?
I like this. I mean, it's probably right. But Drew, do you have any other thoughts about how many billionaires are there?
Well,
and who is the richest?
I know it's Price is Right rule, so I'm just going to go. He says 42. I'm going to say 43 because I know it's
cheap.
It's
That's cheap.
It's cheap, but fuck Jeff, really. Just,
Yeah.
fuck him in his ass.
Yep.
And
I fuck.
Right up the asshole.
This guy fucks.
Yep. This
Gives
guy
it-
fuck. You got to do in Mickey Mouse. There you go.
gives it right up the second I walked in here.
Yep.
I'm going to say, let's say the richest man in the world is the Sheik. Ving Rhames. He because
Ving Rhames is
Yeah.
a sheik.
he is a sheik. How do you
Interesting.
think they're driving cars off skyscrapers in Dubai? Ving Rhames just says he just goes and says, people. This is way more eloquent than Ving Rhames. And he says, people, we're going to drive cars off of our tallest skyscrapers. He says it more like skyscrapers.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, well, he's the sheik. What the fuck are you going to do?
Like a lot of people know his cousin, the Iron Sheik.
Well, wait a second.
But Ving Rhames is the platinum sheik.
Wait,
okay.
I think you're talking about Vin Diesel, but I like the fact that Ving Rhames is Vin Diesel.
You know,
in your
I'm going to
mind.
commit to it. It's Ving Rhames. Ving Rhames, he vouched for Vin Diesel.
Yeah, Ving Rhames would say like, you feel that inside you? That's pride. Fucking with your card, jumping off a building.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
That was
Ving
pretty
Rhames
good.
just came in.
I mean, that's much better than your stand-up impressions.
Hi, Art Balance. We're calling again. Okay.
I just want to tell
but
you.
guys with the names that start with V, they stick together. So I'm going to say that's all tied together. And
they were really good friends with Vincent Price back in the day.
Really?
Yeah.
So Vincent Price, Ving Rhames, and Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Didn't they do a buddy comedy together?
Yeah. Called Kindergarten Cop.
Let's go. Kindergarten. Well, that doesn't.
They were all kindergartners because they had the brain power of kindergartners.
Oh, well, who was the kindergarten cop in the movie?
Vin Diesel's dad.
Vin Diesel's dad.
his dad
Ted
who ran
Diesel?
away, so many years ago was the last time
Ted?
Vin Diesel saw him. And Vincent
weird.
Price was the kid who kept saying that you might have a brain tumor.
Yeah.
I feel like there was
It's
another
a brain
movie
tumor.
titled Kindergarten Cop. It's strange. But I guess, it's like the movie Heat. Like there's 3 movies called Heat.
Yeah.
You just got to know which one it is.
Yeah. Well,
I've
this-
made that mistake a lot on
Yeah.
Netflix. Like I wanted some Arnold Schwarzenegger fun. And instead,
You got Melissa McCarthy and
I get
Sandra
Vincent
Bullock.
Price, Vin Diesel and Ving Rhames, and Ted Diesel.
The classic comedy trio.
I mean,
Well, and
it's
that-
pretty good.
And that was the original version that
Yeah.
it had the title 3 men who are in kindergarten who are then policed by an officer who is there under duplicitous circumstances.
Yeah.
Terrible title.
Yeah.
Terrible title.
Yeah.
So someone finally said, hey, let's get Arnold Schwarzenegger. Let's just call it Kindergarten Cop.
Well, no.
Let's put it out again.
How it really came about, the title was the title in Korea was Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah.
And some U.S. exec was like, that's a really good name for a movie.
So much better.
No,
And
I remember this famous scene from that movie. And just quickly, if we could do this,
Really? Because we're
I know
like 80,000
doesn't matter.
minutes over
But
time.
just quickly, this famous scene where the 3 kindergarten kids are cornered, and they go, "See no evil, hear
The
no
camera
evil,
just went
speak
off.
no evil." All right, what do you want me to do, Jeff?
Yeah, we're out of power. We are literally out of power.
Right.
Ryan killed the video camera.
I killed the video camera.
But
All
we were
right.
done anyway. You can
All
give
right.
the answer.
No, okay. So, here we go. So the famous scene. We're going to go with audio. The famous scene here, where I'll play the part of. I'll be Ving Rhames. You
Okay.
be Vin Diesel. Jeff, you be Vincent Price. Okay.
Yeah, we're done with video.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Vincent Price? I got Vincent
okay.
Price?
So this is the famous scene of Kindergarten Cop, where
Yeah.
where they
No
go,
one watches the video
where
this
they
long
go,
anyway.
see no evil. So he comes in and he goes, "What are you kids doing?" So Vincent Price first goes, "See no evil."
I thought I was Vincent Price.
Your director's notes are way off.
right.
You were going to start as Ving Rhames.
All right.
I was Vin Diesel, and he was Vincent
Okay, we'll try
Price.
again. Ready? So it comes in like, "What are you kids doing?" "See no evil."
Hear no evil.
I see dead people.
All right. There we go. Okay. All right.
That was one of the Hanneman quotes, right? I had to do it in Mickey Mouse voice.
There you go.
Pack it up, put up the posters, Hollywood.
There
It's
you go.
sold.
So again, your guesses were good. Yes, that's right. This was all about a third quiz question.
What are we talking about?
But the answer is, how many billionaires are there in the world currently as of the first quarter of 2015? The answer is 1,826.
You fucker got it right.
Booyah.
That is a net worth of $7.05 trillion. 536 of those billionaires are in the United States. 46 of those are under 40 years old. The world's wealthiest man is Bill Gates, net worth of $79 billion.
That's a lot of Benjamins.
All right, so we definitely went over time, but we had fun. For those of you listening, I shouldn't even look at the camera at this point. But there you go. That's season 2, episode 3, Bad Money. I want to thank our guest, Drew Harmon. Drew,
Thank
for
you
those
guys
thousands of guests out there, where can they find you? Your home address? Social
It's
Security?
just drewharmon.com for all your Drew Harmon needs.
You didn't get fuckyoukrown.com?
No, that someone took that long time ago.
All right.
But there are clips of my stand-up schedules on there, links to my podcast, and then also clips of me actually doing the weather and news and all that fun stuff.
Drew
So
has
it's all
actual equipment for his podcast.
DrewHarmon.com. We'll put that on the website as well. It was a pleasure having you here.
Pleasure to be here, guys.
There we go. Any closing thoughts, guys, before we close this shit up? Didn't think so. Okay, well, thanks for listening, everybody. Remember, stay compressed. We'll talk to you next week.
This guy fucks.
Bye.